This is the Little Italy ingredient monitoring system. This dashboard was built for Little Italy, an Indian restaurant franchise which specializes in Italian vegetarian cuisine. They currently have over 30 franchise locations all throughout India. The restaurant is in the process of moving to a commissary model where they have one central kitchen which will produce all of the sauces and cheese products used by any of the restaurants. This tool is intended to help manage the ordering and monitoring of the use of these products. There are three kinds of data involved with this dashboard. The first is sales data, which is reported by each of the restaurants each month, detailing how many of each menu item they've sold. Secondly, data regarding the orders from each restaurant to the central kitchen for these commissary items. And lastly, recipe data, which details how much of each raw ingredient should be used in the making of each menu item that is sold. The ingredient information is pre-built into our dashboard in a hidden tab in a large table, which can be used for lookups. The sales data and ordering data, however, come in separate files spat out by the company's ERP system. The issue being is that these reports come in strange formats which are not very conducive to analysis, and are also, as you can see, quite lengthy, at about 8,000 rows of information per month. So we've created within our dashboard some VBA code which takes this raw data from the sales reports as they're generated and cleans them up, pulls out the information we need, gets rid of these extra rows we don't, and puts them into a format that's more conducive for analysis. The way that this works, the user simply opens up the sales report as they receive it from headquarters. They do a select all, and then simply copy this data to the clipboard. Next, they go back to our tool here, and they'll see this Add New Data button. When selecting this button, you are prompted by a pop-up here, whether you like to add sales data or production data. In this case, we're adding sales data. This will take us to a new blank sheet where we can drop in the raw data. Now, all there is to do is simply paste from our clipboard into the dashboard here, and now we see we have our sales data. And we hit this complete update button here. We next are prompted to enter in the month and year for the data we're entering. In this case, this is for March of 2017. Finally, we hit the complete update button, and this runs the code, which will pull out all the relevant data and dump it into another hidden slide which contains all the historical sales data. At its current state, this tool has data stretching all the way back from January of 2016 through now to present. So we'll let that run here. It takes just a moment. And now our update is complete. So we have our most recent data now in here. Now we move on to the actual tools themselves. See, we have a number of tools here that take different perspectives at looking at the various restaurant locations and the various ingredients to help show where we may have issues in inventory management, or perhaps restaurants are being too heavy-handed or light-handed on making their dishes, and so we'll see different ways of slicing that. This is important because when restaurants aren't managing their inventory properly and they don't have sufficient amounts of the ingredients, they have to make or buy their own, which hurts profitability and also hurts the consistency of the food that customers get. Our first tool here takes a look at ingredient variance across restaurants. So you're seeing all the restaurant locations here, and you're able to select which ingredient and which time frame. So for example here, let's take a look at mozzarella block cheese in December of 2016. And we can see here, it takes a look at the sales data and the amount that's come in from the central kitchen to show the variance. And it's very easily visualized here by these colored flags we have. Red meaning urgently check that there seems to be an issue with that ingredient at that location. Yellow meaning check, but not quite as severe. And then finally green, which shows that things are okay. And this table is represented graphically here with this graph. So anywhere you're seeing a large discrepancy between the production amount and the sales amount, that's where you're going to be seeing issues happening. Next, we have our restaurant variance by ingredient, which allows us to highlight a specific restaurant and show the situation for all the ingredients at that restaurant. This similarly follows this red, yellow, green output that you see in the table above. Next, we have our seasonality heat map, which shows all the restaurant locations, and the user can select the year which they'd like to monitor. Since 2016 is the 1 year we have full data for, that's the most useful one right now. This can help us view across all the restaurants seasonal trends in sales. For instance, we're seeing here in September and November, the fall time frame being a very heavy period. And you can also then see, looking across these different restaurants, if there is perhaps any geographic variability into how sales are distributed throughout the year. Next, we have our ingredient performance monitor. This here is graphing the amount of the ingredient produced at the central kitchen versus the adjusted sales of that ingredient from all of the different restaurants. So in this instance here, we can see there's been a bit of a shortage in production of this mozzarella block cheese, which was then remedied here towards September of 2016. We can also see, looking at some other items here, as the company moves on to this commissary model, some ingredients are just being brought online. For instance, here we're seeing with this spicy sauce, they just began production of it in September of 2016, and it's slowly ramped up production to now we're meeting the typical demand for that product. Lastly, we have the quarterly average ingredient performance per restaurant, which again is looking at per ingredient, the amount that we are producing versus the amount of sales in that. So that's a good way to just get a different look at the timing and usage, see if there's any trends specific to various time periods. So this is the Little Italy ingredient monitoring system. For more information, you can go to excel-blackbelts.com. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments, and thank you for watching.